Welcome to Only a Podcast. Two blokes upside down and many miles from home talk about popular culture and unpopular culture too. Music, books, films, the news, what we had for dinner last night, anything goes. Apart from politics, probably. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 24 of Only a Podcast. Say hello, Captain.
Hello, Captain.
How you doing?
Here we
you
are
right?
again.
We are.
Yes. Well, it's kind of all right. Kind of, prolonged recovery from hospital things, and then I got a cold, which is fun. Yeah. But it's all right. We get on with things.
Hanging on in there.
While we're languishing, it gives us more time to read and look at Tele and stuff like that.
And generally piss
interested
about.
in doing anything else.
Yeah. Good. Well, we haven't got anything particular lined up for this episode, but I think we both scribbled down a few bits and pieces, haven't we, from the last couple of weeks?
All sorts of things, really.
A random selection. I'll start because we talked about on the last episode. I think we talked about the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert thing briefly, and I know one of the only things I didn't see much of it, but one of the things I did see was Chrissie Hynde performing, and Chrissie Hynde just seems to have been popping up a lot lately. It was her birthday, I think, quite recently, so there was a lot of pictures of her on the socials and all that. And I went back to some Pretenders records, and all this talk of Chrissie has got me thinking about a couple of things. One, seeing her doing that performance at that tribute concert, she hasn't lost it at all, has she?
No,
she's still got it all. She's got everything. The voice is still magnificent. She's still definitely got the sass going on, and she's still the queen of rock and roll. And that got me thinking. It's a question for you and for the punters, really. Are there any aging rockers? Because there's plenty of aging rockers around. Are there any of them that have still got it? Still got it all? Because she definitely has. That just got me thinking of people like Springsteen. He's still got it, I guess, hasn't he? I
guess you get the ones that are still essentially doing the same thing as they did before.
But a lot of them, their voices have gone a bit, Paul McCartney, he's coming for a lot of stick recently about his vocal performances, hasn't he? But Chrissie Hynde just turned 71, and she's still got it all going on.
The one that springs to mind instantly, for a variety of reasons, is Richard Thompson. Yeah, but never the greatest singer initially. Although I have to say, I don't mind that. I think his voice is really expressive when it comes down to it.
Yeah,
and whose guitar playing only ever gets more outrageously good as the years go by. He was great when he was a kid, but he's absolutely bloody amazing now. England's finest living electric guitarist, as Nick Hornby said, and I have a certain amount of agreement with. So he's one for me. Never fails to excite, if you like. Seen him a few times now. But good question, and I'm sure there'll be.
Let us know what you think, folks.
Anyone
that's still just as good as they always were. Elvis Costello, maybe he's one of those. He's still got that voice, hasn't he? I think.
Yeah.
There was
not quite. There was certainly one. The Chrissie Hynde thing was certainly one for Instagram. Straight away, I decided to put something on there about that. The other one I put on there was Brian Johnson doing a couple of AC/DC classics with the Foos. And I'm not going to nominate him for this slot particularly because he was hanging on for grim death at the end, but he gave it absolutely everything.
He did.
The poor bloke, I was quite worried there for a while, sweating away, but really giving it loads. With the young whippersnappers, not that they were all that young. The Foo Fighters behind him. That was a great performance.
Justin Hawkins gives quite a good account of that on his... Well, I know we talk about it quite regularly, don't we? Justin Hawkins on his YouTube show. He gave quite a good account of that event. So that's worth checking out. So the other thing that, going back to some Pretenders records, was something I noticed was some of their records say Pretenders, and some of them say The Pretenders.
Yeah.
Right? So if you asked 100 people who sang Hotel California, what would their answer be? Their answer would be the Eagles, right? Well, they're not called the Eagles.
They're not.
They're called Eagles. You look at all their record covers, they're called Eagles. And Pretenders, on some of their records, they're called Pretenders. On others, they're called The Pretenders. I don't know if that's a record label contractual thing. I don't know, but I'm trying to think of other bands that don't have a the, but we give them a the. Not the. We don't do that with the. But
no, we don't do that.
Arctic Monkeys, I do that. I call them the Arctic Monkeys, and they're not called that.
Yeah, we do slip. The one that gets me every time when I hear it on the radio, so tickets are being announced for the Pixies.
Yeah.
Just because throw things across the room and no.
But what is it? Why does it happen to some bands and not others? Is it because it's the names are plural?
No, I look at. Here's one for you that I just looked at. Sex Pistols. Since we've talked about them quite a lot over the past few episodes. If you read Wikipedia consistently, I know there's people just edit this, and I wouldn't bet on someone putting the in all the way through just to either annoy people or to state their own self-importance.
Anarchy,
suggesting that this is what it's going to be. Look at and even in Never Mind the Bollocks is the Sex Pistols. However, you won't see that on the cover. You won't see that. You won't see Sex Pistols with the in front of it on a lot of their covers. Wikipedia uses the all the way through the text, and yet shouldn't.
I reckon it's to do with pluralisation. That's what I reckon it is. Just thinking this
things
because you never got the Pearl Jam, but you got the Pixies. You never got the Nirvana.
No,
if they were called Nirvanas or Pearl Jams, they might have been called the Pearl Jams.
Don't know what kind of.
The Rolling Stones called the Rolling Stones. They are, aren't they?
Yeah. I don't know if you're on solid ground there. I'm not sure. The other one I spotted was Talking Heads, who actually released a live album called The Name of This Band Is Talking Heads.
Yeah.
So, right. Get it right, you buggers. This is what it is. A few others that I noticed. Carpenters.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, that's another good one. Yep.
Dead Kennedys. And indeed, Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
All plurals. The last one.
All plurals.
Indeed. And the last one, the last two, in fact, Faces. Both regular and small.
Small, medium, and large. Yeah. Wow. Plurals again. Well, okay, folks, you need to find us some bands that get a the put in front of them, particularly those that aren't a plural.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chrissie Hynde led me down those couple of little rabbit holes. So well done. And as I said before, when we did the Sex Pistols one, I really would like to see a Chrissie Hynde spin-off from that Sex Pistols show. If you're listening, Disney Plus. Yeah. What you been up to, Captain? What you got on your list?
I went back from that Pretenders thing also in a different direction because, and we were talking about it, was the guitarist James Walbourne.
Yep.
Who is in the Rails?
Yes.
With Richard Thompson's daughter, Cami.
Cami Thompson. It's his wife.
I've been back to some of those records. Really good. Really great stuff. I've followed James Walbourne for quite some time, since he was a young whippersnapper playing with Peter Brotnell. It's kind of shy. I don't think he was a teenager. Just sitting there cranking out this amazing electric guitar.
Yeah.
And and he was, as I said, on Instagram, I think, one of the stars of the Taylor Hawkins show, to be honest. No better electric guitarist, I think, on that stage than Mr. Walbourne. He's been a regular collaborator with Edwyn Collins.
over the years, and I've been to a few Edwyn Collins shows where he was playing. One in particular, I was standing right at the front, so I'm 6 feet away from James. It was a small venue, it was a low stage, and he was tearing this Telecaster to shreds. It was incredible. His guitar playing absolutely blew my mind. I didn't know too much about him. I hadn't thought about him too much before then. It was only then that I looked into it a bit and saw that he had this thing with his wife Cammy Thompson, The Rails. What was that album? Fair Weather or something it was called, wasn't it? Something like that. But yeah, great stuff, sort of folk rock stuff. But he's now I think a full-time member of the Pretenders, right? You see pictures of the Pretenders, and he's one of them. And also who plays with the Pretenders, and I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy, Carwyn Ellis, another long-time collaborator of Edwyn Collins. And he's done various things of his own. He was in a band called Colorama. I think he's one of these musical geniuses. Sometimes you see him playing guitar, sometimes bass, sometimes piano. He's one of those kind of very talented musicians. And I've seen him play with the Pretenders as well. So, yeah, both from Edwyn Collins' band. I've restarted my, my odyssey into the works of PG Wodehouse. Okay, so I assume you've read PG Wodehouse.
Many,
of course,
many years.
Yeah,
years past.
Yeah, me too. I read loads of the Jeeves and Wooster books years ago, and I've got them all, like a collection. There's 5 books with all the Jeeves and Wooster stories in them, and I thought, right, I'm gonna read all them in order, in not necessarily the order they were published, but the chronological order of the storyline, because they jumped around a wee bit. So I've been doing this on and off for about a year, so I'm on to the 4th book now, I think, in the series, and I just smile. They just make me laugh. There's a line on every page that just kills you. It's so brilliant. But the funny thing is, after I finished reading one of them, couldn't tell you what it was about. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't stick. So I'm reading all these. I know I've read them before, but I don't get the feeling that I've read them before, if you know what I mean. But it's a bit weird that completely enjoy reading them, but don't really remember the stories. I think it's because they're so light-hearted and so, they don't. You don't get touched emotionally by them, do you? It's just entertaining, isn't it? But so I'm doing that, and then I'll move on to the Blandings Castle one after that, and there's a whole bunch of others, lesser known ones. So yeah, that's what I've been reading. I finally got finished that Rod Stewart book. That was good. Good story. It's quite well written, actually. I think Rod wrote it himself. It's quite well done, but it was just spoiler alert. So I got together with some really, really sexy blonde, and I cheated on her with another really sexy blonde, and that went on for quite a few years until he settled down with a sexy blonde. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and repeat.
I think he's done now. I think he's finished. Yeah,
I suppose it makes your writing a bit better if you have to write the same thing 4 or 5 times.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's what you were saying about not able to remember things. Well, I kind of go that way anyway. My sort of favourite trash reading is crime novels, and these days, give it a couple of years, and I could be reading them again. And the surprise may still be there. The plot isn't particularly ruined because I'll have forgotten it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, be coming around to what was I reading lately? Mick Herron's latest Slough House book, and I think I'll be all right. This will be good in a couple of years' time. I could read it again and get exactly the same stuff out of the story. It'll be cool.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. But I have been reading. I read on ebook. Good Lord, I don't really like reading ebooks, but sometimes it's a fast track to actually getting a book from the library. You have to examine the ebook app, dive in there, and think, I can get that one, rather than put myself in the queue.
Yep.
And this was the case. Bob Mortimer's autobiography, And Away. I read that, and I read it very quickly because it's very easy to read. If you want a couple of days' worth of reading, pile into that. It's quite a tough little story in places, especially when he was a kid.
Yeah.
His father died quite young in a car crash.
Yes, right.
And shortly after that, Bob set the house on fire and burnt it to the ground with some fireworks.
Yep.
So
all the usual stuff.
An eventful childhood, subsequently growing up with just a mum, obviously. But it's easy stuff, and it goes into quite a lot about hanging out with Jim Moore, aka Vic Reeves, and things I didn't really know about the genesis of that whole bunch of comedy geniuses that were around at the time and the programs that came out of it, with Paul Whitehouse, the Fast Show people, Charlie Higson, all those guys. So I'd recommend it. I did. It coincided with the new series of Mortimer and Whitehouse Gone Fishing, which I know you have occasional problem with. Not only as a vegan, but as a sort of Englishman on the other side of the world, looking at all those wonderful scenes. Yeah,
you know what? It's
slightly homesick.
I don't get too heavy about it all, but those that know me know I'm a vegan. I try and live that lifestyle as much as I can. So I don't buy leather, I don't buy wool, anything like that. And people, sometimes say, "Oh, what do you miss most about, since you went vegan, what do you miss the most?" And they're expecting me to say bacon or cheese or something. And my answer is fishing. Because I've been all my life, really. That's been on and off, but certainly over the last 5 years or so, 5 to 10 years, fishing. It's my happy place. I just love it. Sitting on the bank, just chilling out, and but can't really do it. It's not really in keeping with the belief system, the manifesto, the vegan manifesto. So can't really do it. It's kind of a blood sport, really. It makes it hard for me to watch. Because it makes me sad because I miss it so much. Had some good times on the riverbank. But I'm hearing that the new series is brilliant. I will watch them. I will, because it's a great show.
It seems the first couple I've watched, it seems gentler. Even more gentle than usual. But maybe it's because Whitehouse hasn't gone off on one in a major way yet, which she does at least once a series by shouting at Bob, "Not to wind, don't wind, don't reel in," a lot. But he hasn't got angry with him yet. But the most recent one I watched was just the most gentle piece of slow TV with terrific scenery, of course. Yes, I shall carry on with it.
Good stuff.
People who were not really into fishing could still.
You can still enjoy it.
Quite a little bit out of that.
Did you read the
technical at all?
Did you read the book? They did a book.
No, I haven't read the book.
I did. That's good. Yeah, that was a good read. Good stuff. I've been meaning, and I'll probably write it on my sort of list for this show every time, and I never get round to it. So there's always more on my list than we have time for. And I'm going to do it this time because we have got time. There's a band out there called the Analogues. I don't know if any of the folks out there have heard of them. And they are, well, I would say they're a Beatles tribute band, but they're a bit more than a Beatles tribute band. They perform live all the stuff the Beatles never did. And they perform it live. So their concerts will be something like the whole White Album played in full. And they play it on real instruments. I don't think they're using loops and samples and stuff like that. And they're amazing. I think they're Dutch, I think, and it's the brainchild of one guy who was a really obsessive, and he started out doing this, and they put together this 10, 12 piece band, whatever, and they fill concert halls. They go and play the whole of Abbey Road or the whole of the White Album or something, note for note. And there's a strong presence on YouTube, so go and check out the Analogues on YouTube if you wonder what the songs from the later period Beatles would have sounded like played live. The Beatles couldn't have done it, of course. It would have been impossible for them to recreate that stuff, but nowadays they can. Do check them out, people. It's interesting stuff.
Yeah. I got a couple more things. Vaguely related. It's Taika Waititi, Rita Ora stuff. She's coming, Rita Ora's coming to sing at the Women's Rugby World Cup here.
Wow.
Not that I'll be there, but I would advise our listeners to to YouTube and check out Rita Ora's version of Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush, which
I have.
Which has, of course, been in the news because it was featured in Stranger Things 4 and shot to the top of the charts. I'm not going to say anything more than that. I shall leave it to you, dear listeners, to type those words into YouTube. Rita Ora, Running Up That Hill, and experience in full
the majesty of that performance.
The majesty, that's the word I'm looking for. We should have got that word this week.
We've seen that word a few times this week. It's got a bit of America's Got Talent audition written all over it, hasn't it? It's quite something.
Phew. And also we caught up with, because I didn't go and pay money to see it at the cinema, but we do pay money to have Disney Plus.
Right.
And I caught up with Thor, Love and Thunder, and I have to say, too much Taika and not enough Marvel. It's, the first one was him just easing his way gently into the canon and being slightly outrageous and, putting some Taika things in there. And this one, it's like they've gone, okay, do what you want, mate. The first one was brilliant, and he's kind of done what he wants. And I just watched it, and I thought, well, it's all right.
Yeah.
But is it? Does it fit? And I know there's also been something in the news over here about it being fashionable to slag off Taika Waititi. We shouldn't do it because he's a national treasure and all that kind of thing. But if you make average films, I've got to call it like it is. It's an average film. Yep,
you judge by your work, right? You get paid a lot of money to do that stuff. So
it's a 2.5 out of 5. It's right down the middle. If you take your brain out and watch it. If it's a rainy day and you've got however many hours to kill, I didn't even notice how long it was. It wasn't overly long, I don't think. And that's probably about the best thing I could say about it. It's got little moments in it. It's got Russell Crowe doing an outrageous accent, but should it have had that?
Yeah. I know it's getting a bit off-brand, isn't it? Yeah,
off-brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, that was my Taika / Rita experiences.
I've got a couple of. I'm probably going to start doing this more often because let me just click on my YouTube. So on my YouTube, I subscribe to well over 200 YouTube channels. Whoa. Yeah, I have done over the years. Dude. And there's some absolute gems in there. So I'm going to start sharing some of the YouTube and social media accounts that I follow that I think are really good. So again, these people might not be obscure. You might have all heard of them. I don't know. But I first came across this young lad called Joshua Lee Turner, an American kid, probably 10 years ago. It must be. And he was doing this solo. He's a musician, and he does this solo version of Graceland, Paul Simon's Graceland, just him with an electric guitar. I think he was probably only about 15 at the time when this thing came out. Graceland, absolutely brilliant. And then he followed that up with a similar version, similar format of Sultans of Swing. Just him solo with electric guitar, just in his bedroom, like any other YouTube musicians out there. But I thought, wow, this lad's really good. So I've been following him, on YouTube throughout the years, and he's been in various bands and done live shows. He's performed in London, and he's a big Paul Simon fan. So he's just released a couple of videos of him with a band. They've done Baby Driver and Kodachrome, and he's done Still Crazy after all these years. But he does a lot of original material as well. So check him out, Joshua Lee Turner. And on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm sure you'll know this person, Stuff by Mark. Do you know Stuff by Mark? He's an artist, and he does all these like pop art album covers and kind of cartoon posters of bands and albums and stuff like that. It's hard to explain what it is, but and you can buy this stuff if you wish. really, really talented guy, really, really good. So I just wanted to give him a shout out as well. I think he's in the UK. Pretty sure he is. Stuff_by_Mark on Twitter, and he's on Instagram as well. But we'll get you all the links. So yeah, I might start doing that. Just giving a name check to some online people that I like. Yeah.
All good.
That's all I've got.
Cool.
I'm out. Wow. My list is empty.
Yeah. Just one more from me. Just as a follow-up, I don't know why they retitled this in a way, but on Netflix, there is a sequel to the two series of the Icelandic noir cop show called Trapped. There is a series 3, which for some reason is called Entrapped, not Trapped 3 or whatever. But, if you like the first two, it's a slightly more preposterous storyline, I have to say, but it's still a reasonable watch. And the characters from the first show, this is what I thought, you see. I think it's Entrapped. It'll be different. Something's happened. They've gone to Reykjavik and it'll be set there or something like that. But no, it's still in the same small town. It is summertime. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, or certainly not as freezing cold as the first two. But there we go. Anyway, there's a cult, there's a biker gang, there's a woman's disappearance, and the unfeasibly small police department of this Icelandic small town have to majorly dig into this the murder of a cult member, and passes by gently. And if you've got Netflix and you've got nothing to watch,
try that.
Pull it up.
We're I'm coming towards. Well, I suppose I'm 3/4 of the way through now. Rewatching, which is no mean feat because there's a lot of episodes. Rewatching The Office, the US version with the kids. We just love it. It's so good. But yeah, we're almost at the end of season 7 now, and that's. I think it goes downhill after that. So I think we're nearly there. But yeah, the kids really wanted to see it, so I'll move on to something else after that. But nearly there. Right, I reckon we'll go, shall we? We've talked long enough. We overcame some technical obstacles to get this episode out.
That'll be just flawless editing, and you
won't even notice because the editing will be so good. You won't notice.
It's so much cursing and swearing.
Two laptops being thrown out of the window. Yeah, almost. There we go. All right, let's go. Say goodbye, Captain.
Goodbye, Captain.
See you, folks. Don't forget to tweet us and share and like and subscribe and all those good things.
Do that.
Do all those things, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.
Bye. You've been listening to Only a Podcast. If you'd like to get in touch and share your feedback and ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Go to onlyapodcast.com, or you can find us at Only a Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, or via our Facebook page. Remember, it's only a podcast.